Hello, I'm John Quintero, and welcome to the North Star Resort outside of Reno, Nevada, for the last leg of the Great Western Pro-Am Series. Teams from all over the United States came as early as Thursday, October 7th, to prepare for this event. After the teams had settled into their accommodations at the resort, they are quick to make their way out onto the event site to run the playing fields and to plan out their strategies. But it takes a little more than arriving a few days early to prepare for this event. We're going to take you back in the month of September, where I had a chance to observe the Jokers Wild practicing in Portland, Oregon.
Hi, I'm Phil Smith. We're at Splat Action Paintball Games outside of Portland, Oregon. You have a chance to look in on Jokers Wild, an up-and-coming pro paintball team from Oregon. I had a chance to speak with Jerry Williamson, captain of Jokers Wild, and asked him what, in particular, they were going to work on in practice.
We work a lot on trying to gain 5/8 of the field. Communication, I think communication is a major part of paintball, you know, knowing your live players, dead players, where you can push on a field, where you can't push on a field, things like that. We work a lot on, you know, defensive moves, offensive moves, seeing whose gun's going to be, you know, long ball gun, etc., and trying to find which players, you know, at that moment are working better together, really. We kind of play the field as the field develops. We go into codes when, you know, a player reads a situation where he thinks he can push, or he's got an angle here or something, or he's making a special move. He communicates to the player next to him, who in turn communicates across the field. We kind of play kind of a freestyle ball, you know, and there's really not a set plan that this guy has to go here and has to go there. You have usually a first position that you hit, and then maybe a secondary position, but we do a lot of freelance, and it's just that communication across the field, knowing when it's clear or somebody's there. If you got somebody when you got to get through there, it makes a big difference.
Coming up next, team introductions and preliminary play when we return.
Every year in Portland, Oregon, don't forget to stop by Splat Action Paintball Field, Oregon's largest and longest running field. There's over 60 guns available for rent, and over 80 acres and 15 fields to play on. Come experience the thrill, the excitement, only at Splat Action, located just southeast of Portland, Oregon.
Welcome back to day one of the Great Western Pro-Am in Reno, Nevada. 11 amateur and 11 professional teams have traveled from all over the country to compete for over $20,000 in prizes. The amateur teams are Fatal Swoop from California, second in the amateurs in the '93 Bay City Masters. The Untouchables, also from California. From the Pacific Northwest, the always tough Washington Rain. And Black Sunday from California, taking third in the '93 Dallas Open. Out of British Columbia, we have Team Storm. The Jokers Wild from Oregon, first in the amateurs in Portland, and fourth in the amateurs in the '93 Bay City Masters. From the state of Texas, we have Urban Survival. And from Sacramento, California, we have the Dogs of War, led by their captain, Rick Wilcox. From the state of Washington, we have Eclipse. And from the Bay Area of California, another team called Storm. And finally, from the Lone Star State, the #1 ranked amateur team, the Texas Black Diamonds. On the other side of the coin, we have the pros. From Florida, we have the Palm Beach Predators. And out of California, we have Tour de Force, winners of the '93 Bay City Masters. From New Hampshire, we have the Wild Geese. And from Illinois, we have Team Aftershock, winners of the '93 Boston Cup. And out of the Bay Area of California, the always tough Ironmen, NPPL's #1 ranked team. We have Bad Company from Maryland. And from the South, the Texas Storm. And from California, the Bushwhackers, led by their captain, Ron Kilborn. And you can't have a national tournament without this team. The All-Americans, back-to-back champions of the '91-92 Masters in Nashville. And out of California, perhaps one of the oldest pro team, we have Navarone. And one of the newest pro teams to play the circuit is the Good, Bad, and Deadly, GBD. This tournament is sanctioned by the NPPL, and NPPL rules are in effect. The game is capture the flag with a 25-minute time limit. The live flag rule is in effect, and there are 6 judges to a field. The chronograph speed is 300 feet per second. Teams are awarded 3 points for each elimination, 10 points for a first flag pull, and 60 points for a flag hang. Teams can be penalized points for a live player checking out with an obvious and an unobvious hit. Points are deducted for hot gun violations. With 33 of the 124 games that are played today, we're going to show you the highlights of day 1. After the first day of preliminary play, we have 5 teams with perfect scores of 300. While 6th through 10th place is separated by only 6 points, there are only 18 points separating 11th through 16th place, while the remaining teams had a very rough day. Up next, day 2 of the preliminary play when paintball action sports returns. Yesterday, the top 5 seeded teams all had perfect scores. And for the first game today, we're going to watch one of those top 5 teams, the All-Americans, take on the Untouchables.
Tommy, look up the hill, babe, up the hill. 20! Good hold the lower side. Richie! George! George, you got Richie! Off the field this way. Eliminate player off the field. Tommy! Top two behind me.
As expected, the All-Americans defeat the Untouchables 91-21. And on other preliminary games to report, we have Aftershock defeating the Dogs of War 100-15 and GBD maxing their game against Navarone 100-3. Up next, the Texas Storm take on Eclipse.
Storm 20! Red!
With Eclipse having the first flagpole, it was the Texas Storm with the hang for the win of 87-37. In other games, we had Bad Company spanking Storm from California 100-3. The Bushwhackers edging out the Jokers Wild in body count 21-12. The All-Americans continue their winning ways over the Texas Storm's second game 100-18. And the Untouchables get their first max of the tournament over Eclipse's second game, 100-21. Play is set to begin on Field 1 with Aftershock against Bad Company.
Go, 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 go!
I'm going up to this big bunker, Tommy.
We got two up here at the top!
I'm on that man! I'm on it, buddy! Come on, buddy! I'm on it, buddy! Hard out! Army hard out! He's off me now. Check him in the middle! Just a man in the middle! Right up there! Good bunker! Good bunker! Good bunker! Neutral! Oh, you called me neutral! You called me neutral! You shot me just now! You shot me just now in the goggles! Don't move! I gotta check the goods. Stand up! Hey! Get back! Get back! Pull him out! Tell him to pull him. He's not doing it! He's eliminated! Play on! Play on! He's not pulling him out yet! He's not pulling him out yet! Coming around! Coming around!
Flag.
Yeah.
With the hang by Aftershock, the score was 100-15, and we caught up with Aftershock's captain, Rennick Miller, and asked him if their game plan worked against Bad Company.
It seemed to work real good. We decided to push the low side over the logs here. No one seems to have tried that yet. We didn't feel they had enough cover, so we came over the logs. Seemed to work out real good.
In other games played this second day, we have GBD defeating the Jokers Wild 100-27. And again, Aftershock playing their last game of the day against Storm of California 100-6. The Bushwhackers whacking on Navarone 100-19. And Bad Company barely edging the Dogs of War 31-27. GBD did some whacking of their own on the Bushwhackers 95-18. And the All-Americans easily defeating Eclipse for a score of 100-4. Storm is perfect while the Dogs of War are not so perfect due to penalties. Navarone avenges on an earlier loss to the Jokers Wild with a score of 85-24. The Untouchables were touched all over by the pain of the Texas Storm to the tune of 95-21. Even with penalties, Tour de Force stomps Urban Survival 50-3. The same can be said about the Geese as they edged Storm BC 42-25. The Ironmen nearly got beat by Black Sunday, but bounced back to thump Fatal Swoop 100-6. It's Washington Rain over the Texas Black Diamonds 100-27. It's the Palm Beach Predators over Storm BC 100-12. The Ironmen also over Storm 90-34. Black Sunday has their way with the Predators 100-24. It's Fatal Swoop swooping down on their prey, the Geese, 100-24. But the Wild Geese recover to beat Black Sunday 100-24. Here's a low-scoring game. Washington Rain edging out Tour de Force 18-15. The Palm Beach Predators maxing their last game 124 of the Fatal Swoop. Urban Survival was stomped all over by Washington Rain, only to have the Texas Black Diamonds do it to them 100-15. And finally, the last game of the day, Tour de Force is upset by the Texas Black Diamonds 100-0. Before we go on to the semifinals, here's a little more game video for you to enjoy. Next, we find out who made it to the semifinals when paintball action sports returns. It's the last day of play, and let's take a look at the results of 2 days of preliminary play. Aftershock is the only team to have a perfect score of 600, with GBD, All-Americans, and Ironman and Washington Rain rounding out the top 5. We find the Palm Beach Predators in 6th place, followed by Black Sunday, Tour de Force, Bad Company, Texas Black Diamonds, and in 11th place, the Bushwhackers. In 12th place, it's Eclipse with 277 points, followed by Fatal Swoop, Texas Storm, Wild Geese, and Team Storm from California in 16th. The 17th spot belongs to the Jokers Wild with 191 points, with the rest of the teams rounding out the final 22 spots. With only 8 teams advancing into the amateur semifinals and 8 teams advancing into pro semifinals, teams are placed into new divisions. In the amateur semifinals, we have in Division A, Storm from California, the Untouchables, Eclipse, and Black Sunday. In Division B, we have the Texas Black Diamonds, Jokers Wild, Washington Rain, and Fatal Swoop. In the pro semifinals, we have in Division A, GBD, the Bushwhackers, Ironman, and Tour de Force. In Division B, we have the All-Americans, Bad Company, Aftershock, and the Palm Beach Predators. With the division set, let's show you an amateur semifinal game between the Jokers Wild against Washington Rain.
Pile. Take the pile, Dave. What's it take?
I got him.
In a game with 3 flagpoles, time runs out with the score of Washington Rain 40, Jokers Wild 27. With that in mind, we asked Brian Garbarino of the Washington Rain of a quick rundown of the final few minutes of the game.
Well, the game went really well. Our numbers were calling out, and towards the beginning of the game, we were doing pretty well. My side, my gun went down a couple times. I stripped down my line and goes direct bottle, and found out I was out of air. Go to the side, borrow a tank from somebody. We were holding the top wire on the hill for a while, and I noticed we had about 8 minutes left in the game, and we heard no firing on the other side of the line anymore. So we split up. I was holding the wire for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So to give me enough time to get into the flag station, grab the flag, and come back. On the way down, I moved slowly and carefully down the hill, running into nobody. Noticed that Phil, my partner, had holding the flag up in the ground, which told me there was 1 more player or 2 more players left that eliminated him. So I came down and into the flag station and saw it. I heard a trampling coming through the field. Looked to my side, and there was a Joker running the flag in. Popped him, and then tried to run the flag back into the flag station, and just cut short time. Didn't make it.
Being the only amateur semifinal game being shown, here's the rest of the amateur semifinal scores. Washington Rain defeats the Texas Black Diamonds 100-3. The Jokers Wild having no problem with Fatal Swoop 100-18. And Eclipse defeats Black Sunday 100-15. And it's California Storm over the Untouchables 91-18. Fatal Swoop loses again to Washington Rain 90-28. While the Jokers Wild has the last laugh over the Diamonds 93-13. Black Sunday is winners over Storm 100-3. And the Untouchables with penalty points lose to Eclipse 100 to -38. Fatal Swoop finally gets a max over the Texas Black Diamonds. Storm spanks Eclipse, and Black Sunday defeats the Untouchables only to have penalties that could keep them from advancing. Let's now jump right into the pro semifinal game between the All-Americans versus Aftershock.
Boy, you ready? Well, guys. Check him, John. Well, Rob. Check him, John. Lee. Jackie! Jackie! Behind the bunker! Right there! Mark! Right in front of us! Hey! Check that guy in the gun! Bring down the gate! On this bunker right here! John, move up! John! Take the bunker! John, move up! John! Get the gun out! Go! John! 52! Right there! Shut the right in the head! Hit! Come in, John! Hey, listen to me! There's a man in there! Right there, the radio. Keep the gun on him. Right in there, Bill.
It's the All-Americans defeating Aftershock 100-12. And another pro semifinal games, we'll find that the Ironman defeats GBD 100-9, and Bad Company loses to the Palm Beach Predators 100-15. The score is 100-6 in favor of Tour de Force over the Bushwhackers. It's Aftershock over the Predators, and GBD over Tour de Force. The All-Americans are too much for Bad Company as they win 100-18. Field 1 is ready to go as we watch the Ironmen take on the Bushwhackers.
Go, 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 go! I've got at least 2 here! I got look, tell G-Man I'm loading. G-Man I'm loading! I'm loading, G-Man! Get back down! Get back down! You're gone! You're gone! Get that man! I'm running around! I'm running around! Get the man! Get your gun! He's gone, dude! He's gone! He's dead! On the tape. Sweet man!
It's the Ironmen over the Bushwhackers, 100-9. And some last pro semifinal scores to report. We have the All-Americans defeating the Predators, 100-9, and Aftershock rolling over Bad Company, 100-18. The Ironmen have no problem with Tour de Force, and the Bushwhackers saying, "We're not going to the finals, so neither are you, GBD," as the Bushwhackers defeat GBD 100-18. Up next, the total on game scores of both amateur and pro semifinals, and we'll find out who advances to the finals when we return.
Hi, my name's Glenn Palmer. I'm owner-operator of Palmer's Pursuit Shop based out of Sacramento, California. We specialize, though, in converting existing equipment, bringing up to competitive standards, specializing primarily in Sheridan products. We have a full line of retail products. If you have an existing Sheridan pump gun and would like it turned into a semi-automatic, you can send your gun to us, or you can call for a free catalog of our work at area code 916-923-9676.
In the amateurs, we have Washington Rain taking top spot with a score of 230 points. And in the pros, the All-Americans had a perfect semifinals with 300 points, with the Ironmen close behind. So in the amateur finals, we have Washington Rain, Jokers Wild, Eclipse, and California Storm. In the pro finals, we have the All-Americans, Ironmen, Aftershock, and Tour de Force. But before we move on, I had a chance to talk with the NPPL's representative, Steve Davidson, about their first year as a league.
We are having 5 tournaments. We move the locations around the country to give different people a different opportunity to come to these things. And they're going to be 5-day events. We're going to be introducing a 5-player NPPL format, in addition to the 10-player. We're going to roll out all the changes and improvements that we've made from the lessons that we've learned this year. We're addressing some financial issues. I'm sure that a lot of teams would like to know that we are going to be lowering the entry fee for the amateur teams on our circuit next year. And we're trying to work with the rest of the paintball industry to get them involved as much as possible, give them a stake in these tournaments, and just improve the circumstance for everybody.
Great. Now let's take a look at an amateur finals game between Washington Rain versus the Jokers Wild.
Go, 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 go! They're storming the top! They're storming the top! They're storming the top!
I don't know what's going on.
Jason, how we doing in the middle?
Players clean. What's that right there underneath there? Who are you? He's in. He's in. Neutral clear.
Washington Rain defeated the Jokers Wild 97-18. Now let's take a look at a pro final game between the Ironmen and Aftershock.
Go, go, go!
See my hand.
Check the value. Go left. Gary! I got it.
Aftershock defeated the Ironmen 100-18. And in other games to report, the All-Americans defeated Tour de Force 100-6. And again, Tour de Force faces another loss as the Ironmen get a max in their second game of the finals, 100-18. And in game 2 of the finals, it's the All-Americans defeating Aftershock 100-6. Now on to the last game in the Pro Finals, as it's the Ironmen against the All-Americans.
Three left! G1 confirmed! G1! G1 confirmed! Brian! Brian, you gotta watch the top, Brian! Brian, you gotta watch the top, I gotta clean. Richie's off to your right, get your feet down. There's 3 up here. He's on the corner, Bill. He's on the corner, Bill. He's on the corner, Richie. No, I got him. He's on the corner, Richie, up top above you. 32! Not a fun spot.
Yeah. I know.
I got it! One just ran up jet. Okay, one just ran up jet. Come on, take it.
The Ironmen win 97-21, but it looks like they lost too many players to win the tournament. Up next, results of the amateur and pro finals when paintball action sports return.
Every year in Portland, Oregon, don't forget to stop by Splat Action Paintball Field, Oregon's largest and longest running field. There's over 60 guns available for rent and over 80 acres and 15 fields to play on. Come experience the thrill, the excitement, only at Splat Action, located just southeast of Portland, Oregon.
Welcome back as teams start to assemble together for the award ceremonies. The final results are in as Washington Reign takes first in the amateur finals. And the pro finals, we have the All-Americans taking first with a total score of 221 points. Ironman in second, Aftershock taking third with 203 points, and Tour de Force taking home fourth place. Let's go back to the staging area where the award ceremonies has begun. In the amateurs, fourth place goes to Storm from California. And third place belongs to the Jokers Wild, making this their third straight events which they had placed. And in second, it's Eclipse from the state of Washington. And first place belongs to Washington Reign from the Pacific Northwest. In the pros, we have Tour de Force taking fourth, and Aftershock taking third. And the Ironman is now set to receive their second place award.
National champs, baby.
And finally, the All-Americans taking home the championship.
I'd like to start out thanking the sponsors. PMI RP Shear for our paint, Smart Parts for our rifled barrels, Vents, awesome goggle, and finally, Airgun Design for I think, the best gun out there. I'd like to especially thank the referees, Black Diamonds and CP, for the help. And I think this is an excellent finish to a terrific year for the NPPL. We hope to see you all in Texas, our first event in March. Thanks again.